Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just want to first thank all my brothers and sisters in arms, whether you are serving in the Army, the Navy, the Marines, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard. And I just want to thank you for your service and keeping our country safe. And I also want to extend my gratitude and gratefulness to your families for supporting you. I know how hard it is on families when duty calls and you're off to either training or deployments and you're gone for weeks at a time or even months at a time, right? So, again, thank you and may God's Holy Spirit be upon you to keep you safe. Okay, so you've already watched a four-part series of how to fund your fix and flips. But please, if you have not watched that series, go back to my channel and then search for how to fund your fix and flips. I literally gave you how I fund all my deals. I showed you exactly by details how I use hard money lending, private money lending, home equity line of credit, business line of credit, and also business credit cards, right? I gave you guys detailed examples of deals that I've done and I've used those funding strategies on. Okay. So if you have used it, go ahead and comment below how it worked out for you. I would love to hear it. Okay. So by now, you've already got a property under contract and also funded. Now, the next question is what's next? Right? What do I do? What do I go from here? Well, don't worry, I got you, battle. Okay? In this video, I'm going to walk you through the process to get you to the closing table at the attorney's office. Okay? So this is where you're going to sign your first property to flip. Okay? Um, you see, I created this channel for all my service members because 5 years ago, I started thinking of life after retirement. And I knew that I didn't want to work for the government again. I didn't want to work for anyone again, right? I didn't want to work for another person above me that I have to answer to because I've already done that for the last 20 years. And I can't see myself doing that again for the next 20 years. That's when I decided that I wanted to have a business of my own and then where I can be my own boss and, have that freedom to set my own schedule, decide how much money I want to make, and then spend more time with my family. That's how I found real estate investing in wholesaling, fix and flipping, and a construction company. And I did this all while serving active duty in the United States Army. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Chris Solaita. I'm a servant of my Lord and Savior Jesus, a husband, a father of two, and I'm currently serving active duty here at Fort Liberty, North Carolina. But before we go to the topic today, I want to first thank you for smashing that like button and then commenting on all my videos. It really means a lot to me. This is how I'm able to conversate with you, see what you like and what you don't like, see what questions you have so I can answer them. And I reply to every one of your comments. Okay. So if I don't have the answer, I'll definitely reach out to my network and then provide you with a better answer. And on top of that, the source of that answer. That way you can go straight to the source. And then the source is a lot more reliable than I am on that subject, right? You see, all my content is strictly from experience. What has worked for me, what hasn't, and the knowledge that I have gained over the years. There is one thing that you're not going to see me do on all my YouTube videos is speak on something in real estate investing that I haven't done. Okay. I will only give you what I have experienced, and it's specifically in fix and flipping. Okay. But as a disclaimer, this right here is strictly for educational purposes. The content I provide is informational and only learning purposes and should not be considered as a professional advice. So I encourage you to do your own research and then seek consultation on it, right? But let's get to the what you are here for, because now that you got a property under contract, now that you got it funded, now the question is, what's next? Okay, don't worry, I got you. So I'm going to switch over from this screen to my infamous my node. Okay, let me turn off these links here so that you guys can see better. Okay, so here we are. So your offer is accepted, right? And now what? So in the previous videos I've shown you guys is I went over the deals. Let me, okay. I went over all this right here, how to fund your deals from your own funds all the way down to, business line of credit. Then what is next? Well, this is what we're going to go over today. We're going to go over what is earnest money deposit, EMD, the inspection period, and then also scope of work. Okay. So let's start with earnest money deposit. All right, earnest money deposit. What is that? So money deposit is a money the amount of money that you give either to the seller or to the wholesaler, but you don't give it to them. You actually give it to you wire it to the closing attorney. Okay, so we got two people here. For example, like the seller. Okay, and then below that is the wholesaler. Let me blow this up a little bit. That way, there you go. That's a little better. So, wow, that's my dogs in the background. They're barking. I think my wife is about to feed them. So, please do not mind my boys. I've got 4 dogs, 2 cats, and a turtle. Yeah, that's those are our kids now because our kids are grown. But, anyways, so back to the subject. So we're talking about the seller. We're talking about the wholesaler also as far as earnest money deposit, right? And then here you go. I'm just trying to make sure that you guys can see the screen a lot better. Okay, so we're talking about the seller right now. So seller in the earnest money deposit, it's usually 1% of the purchase price, but it is when it comes to the seller, it's totally up to you. Okay, whether you want to put down $5, $10, or $100. I just recommend not to be that cheap and put that down, because what that 1% that tells the seller or the seller that you are serious about the offer, right? So it's usually 1% of the purchase price. So if the purchase price is $100,000, your earnest money deposit is usually it will be, if it's 1%, then it's going to be $1,000. Okay. So now it's like, what do you do with that money? Well, you send that money to the closing attorney. Okay. So you send that money to, when the offer is accepted, when the seller says, yes, I accept your offer, the seller signs a contract, your purchase agreement. Then you take that purchase agreement and you email that purchase agreement, right? And also email the seller at the same time. You email that purchase agreement and CC the seller on there. You email it to the closing attorney. And then you send the following, which is a signed contract and then the earnest money deposit. The earnest money deposit, usually the attorney will send you a wire instructions as far as where to wire that money. Okay. Now, as far as a wholesaler, when you do a deal with the wholesaler, the earnest money deposit depends on the wholesaler. Usually, the wholesaler will set the earnest money deposit. Usually, it's between like maybe $2,500 to like $5,000. I even seen like $10,000. But yeah, so that money that you send, that you wire. Remember now, you do not send it to the seller or the wholesaler. You send it to the closing attorney. Okay. If the wholesaler says something as far as like, hey, yeah, you're going to wire that money to me. No, do not wire to anyone else. If the wholesaler says that, run. All right. But when you're dealing with the wholesaler, usually your earnest money deposit is usually non-refundable. Okay. So your earnest money deposit is due within 24 hours of your offer accepted. And then you wire that, like I said, you wire the earnest money deposit to your closing attorney, and you do not wire it to anybody else except your closing attorney. Okay. So I hope everybody got that part. Now we're going to move into inspection. So I'm also going to give you guys the timeline of the inspection and then also the scope of work leading up to your closing date, what it looks like. So inspection period, usually inspection period, when you put into your offer, Usually your inspection period, for me, I like to do my inspection period 10 days, right? That gives me time for me to order a home inspector to go in there and do a complete home inspection. And then it also gives me time to do a walkthrough with my contractor. Okay. So the home inspection period, this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to bring that up. Okay. So your home inspection period all the way to your closing date. All right. So I'm going to put a timeline here, and let's just say let me change this color to blue. Okay. So now let's just say that this is your timeline. This is 14, your closing date, right? That's 14 days. Your day 1 is when your offer is accepted, right? Okay, so now you have day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So this is what I usually do. From the day my offer is accepted, I send the offer and the earnest money deposit to that same day. I send it to the closing attorney. So then from there, what I do is I schedule a home inspection from day 1 to 5. I'm going to change the color so I can distinguish it a little bit better, right? So this right here, from day 1 to day 5, that is going to be my home inspection time. Okay. Then once the home inspection is done, I get that home inspection back from the home inspector. Then what I do is I then have my contractor walk through, because this is where I will take the home inspection and then I will walk the property together with my contractor. That is from day 5 to day 8, right? I'm going to put down here contractor walkthrough. Okay. This right here is when I take my contractor with me with my home inspection, and then we go through everything as far as like what needs to be done, what does he see, what could we expect, right? This is where we also come up with a scope of work. Now, after my contractor walkthrough, I spend from day 8. I'm going to change this color. I'm going to change it to, let me change it to white. Okay, cool. So from day 8, where were we? Oh, from day 8 to day 13, right? 13. This is when I create, or I start working on my scope of work. Okay, so my scope of work, I don't know why it's not coming up. But my scope of work, what happens, and usually in the scope of work, is I'm the one that's usually doing it, right? So that scope of work is going to end up being like a 2-page of exactly what I want my contractor to do. Okay. I'm not sure why that's not showing up, but that's okay. But let's continue. But anyways, from day 8 to day 13 is when I do my scope of work. This is also when I'm working on scheduling, right? I need a schedule with all the subcontractors, the scheduling, and then I also do the pricing, the material pricing, the material selections, right? I get all that ready before the closing date, so that when it comes to the closing date, I close, and then the very next day, day 15, is when I actually start the work. Okay, so that is exactly what I do once I get everything funded. Once I get the property funded, the deal funded, I send it over to the closing attorney, and then the closing attorney with the earnest money deposit, and then this timeline right here from home inspection to the contractor walkthrough to the scope of work all the way to the closing date. That's exactly what I do. Okay. Now, timelines will differ for you. Timelines will differ for a lot of other flippers also, but this is what I usually works for me. Okay. Um, Now you're looking at like, wow, does it take that long for the scope of work to create? No, when you're doing so many deals, you get really used to like how to word it and how to type it down really quick, so you can literally do a scope of work for maybe 2 hours. Right? When I first started, it took me like maybe like 2 to 3 days to do a scope of work because I had to be really detailed. You have to have a scope of work. Okay, have a scope of work. If your contractor says no, you don't need a scope of work. No, you need a scope of work. You also need a contract with your contractor saying that this is what they're going to do for this timeline for this much of money, right? This really protects you as far as your investment into your first fix and flip. Okay, so I hope this really helps you out. I can go more into details with this right here, but for now, I think this is enough information for you guys to go with, right, and to move forward. So if you guys want to have, more information as far as like detailed information, as far as going through from offer accepted all the way to the closing table, go ahead and join my free VIP mentorship group, the Government Issue Flippers. This is the link is in the description below. I will also pin it in the comments. But this is where I'm able to go through deals with you, or the process with you guys, and walk you through exactly what you could be expecting. Okay. Again, it'll be, steps could differ a little bit, right, from state to state, or county to county. Your location is totally different from where I'm at here in North Carolina. Okay. But the process is pretty much almost the same. Okay. So like I said, if you want more of this type of information and more of this type of training, join my free VIP mentorship group, the Government Issue Flippers, GI Flippers. The link is in the description below. Join us. We have training once a week on the school platform. That's SKOOL. So I really do hope that this message blesses you in so many ways. And if you know other service members that are interested in creating a fix and flip business, or whatever type of business it is, you're maybe interested in fix and flipping, right? Share this with them, share this link with them, and hopefully that they will also get information that is going to help them along the way, right? But again, if you have any questions, comment down below. I would love to hear what you think about this video. I would love to see the questions, especially that you have about this video that I didn't explain very well, that I could help you out and then reply to your comment, right? So again, I really hope that this message blesses you in so many ways, and I can't wait to see for you guys on my next video that I'm going to be doing, and see you guys on that one. But other than that, you guys stay blessed by the best. Peace.